This is the It's My Time podcast with Asher Tchoua.
How's your year been so far?
It's been interesting. And I only say that because my wife had our daughter last June. So yeah, it's been interesting. We're on number 2 now, and we
Yeah.
got 2 kids in the house. So
Uh-oh.
yeah, so and then
See?
of course I'm working from home. So
Gotcha.
yeah, that's fun.
So you it just kind of hit me all of a sudden. It's like you got 2 kids in the house and working from home, newborn,
Yes.
COVID-19, all that just in one thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Woo!
Yeah.
Brave
It's,
man. Brave man.
it's been fun. It's been fun. I mean, of course we didn't know COVID's gonna hit. We found out she was pregnant that December before COVID,
Right.
2019. And then going into it was like, well, guess she'll be locked in the house. Well, my wife will be locked in the house.
Yeah.
And then of course, yeah.
Gotcha.
It's interesting. I love my son and everything, but yeah, he keeping him locked up in the house. Yeah, that's been.
He doesn't like it. How old is he?
He's about to be 5 in December.
Oh wow. He's right at that age. He's like
Yeah.
knows everything. He can speak, he can talk, he can run. Like
Mhm.
he wants to see
Yeah.
his friends, all that. I think my niece just turned 5 2 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah. But she's definitely at that age. Every time like you jump on the phone or something with the parents, she's just like, "Hey,
Right.
I know you." It's
Right.
like, what's
right.
going on? She just start like screaming randomly. It's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
love this kid.
That's fun. I mean, I'm glad that the companies are more open because in some cases they'd be loud and I'll be on mute, and they ask me a question, so I had to come off to hear the loud noise and I mute back. It's like, hey man, just leave it off mute, man. It doesn't matter. Like we're all stuck at home, so it doesn't
Right.
matter.
They're like we're all used to it.
Right.
Gotcha.
So yeah, every now and then I'll be on the call on video, and then he'll come up beside me, just be looking like, who's that? I'm like, man, it's work, man. You gotta go sit down, man.
So what you doing? Do I know them?
Nah.
Oh man, catch me up. It's funny. I spoke to Rashad Allen earlier. I don't know if you remember him. He was in architecture,
Mhm.
and I talked with him the first time since like 2010.
Oh, okay.
Man, like lots changed. He's into
Yeah.
he did
I
his
haven't talked to him in a while either.
huh?
I said I haven't talked to him in a while either.
Yeah. I think the main person I caught up with, actually funny, I've caught up. I mean, I've stayed in touch more so with Ron, LaRon, and
Yep.
I actually ran into I think Latasha.
Okay.
Forget, maybe I might mispronounce her name.
I remember the name, but I'm trying to remember who that is.
Gotcha. But I think she was like in textile, like a textile.
Oh, textile. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
That's the
did
thing.
you do,
I remember people by majors.
right? It's hilarious. It's like we had so many to choose from, but it's like somehow or another you see everybody at the food court
Mm-hmm.
getting food. Everybody's all in there, just like, okay, hey, like just that friendly environment. But how did things kind of shake out for you? I think, did you do civil?
No, I did computer engineering.
Okay.
Well, started off with dual major computer and electrical. Found out I didn't like the hardware side, so I dropped that side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But funny thing is, when I came into the program, I was like, oh, I never want to do software. But that's where I am now. So,
Nice.
but no, I like it. I mean, those classes with those senior classes, those really exposed me to it, because our program was hardware and in software, so you had to do it either way. So even if you didn't like it, but I actually grew to like that a lot more than the hardware side. So
what made you like it more, or like what grew on you?
Just the just the trying to figure it out piece, trying to
Okay.
put something together, put the code together and get it
Right.
to work. And it works, you're like, yes, it's finally working.
Yeah.
So, but after crazy mistakes, oh, I forgot to put a little comma or something. Yeah,
Right.
something simple. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. And then like even through those projects, um, late nights with friends and all that, that just grew a deep bond with them. We would, to this day we'll, reminisce on that. Hey, remember staying up all night for that project?
Oh man. It's like maybe more so than I want to remember, but
Yeah, yeah.
I mean other times it's like those kind of shaped us, but in our own way it's like, well, yeah. I I I was thinking to myself, oh, one sec, I'll be right back. I I've forgotten. Well, I went on one of these excursions earlier that they've
Mm-hmm.
got out here tied to the hotel,
Mm-hmm.
and I went through the first time. It's this thing called like you're basically walking through in the dark. I think they had something similar in Atlanta where
Mm-hmm.
it's like dialogue in the dark, but this one
Okay.
they have the different uh, elements of nature and sounds and things like that. So you'll be feeling rock, you'll be
Mm-hmm.
getting sprayed with water or walking across a
Okay.
bridge, all while it's pitch black. So you just got to like walk by faith and put your
Mm-hmm.
hands out in front of you, just feel. And you're walking barefooted. So you're walking on some rocks. You're walking like a good 15, 20 minutes. So I went through and you get to the wall where you're supposed to leave your shoes. And I was trying to find my shoes. I couldn't find them. So I go all the way around and like they tell you to just go one way because
Mm-hmm.
of like they want to avoid contact and like
Yeah.
people possibly cross contaminating. So I went through almost 40 minutes twice and I was like, that was a workout. So I got back to the room and I was like, let me order some food real quick. I might just need to lay down or something before we start talking. Otherwise, I was like, I drank some OJ to get some
Mm-hmm.
energy.
Right.
But uh,
Which part of Mexico? Yeah.
Cancun,
Okay, cool. Okay,
yeah,
yeah. Me and my wife supposed to be going there in June.
nice. I think you like it very much. Uh, the resort they got us set up in is very cool, and I was like, I guess it's a great first impression for ever going to Mexico.
Oh, it's your first time?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah,
and
yeah. Okay, yeah.
slowly,
It'll be my
slowly,
first time. My wife
slowly
has been
branching out.
before.
Oh, she's been before.
Yeah,
Cool. But
yeah. Yeah, but I said her and her family did a lot of traveling, so I'm just catching up. So,
hey man, you do what you can.
yeah. So,
Cool.
yeah, man. Tell me about you, man. What you been doing since school?
Uh, well, I mean, I did the civil engineering degree,
Mm-hmm.
went transferred, graduated, went out to the Midwest, was out there about a year, what was it? Almost a year and a half in the Midwest
Mm-hmm.
between Louisiana and Illinois around the Chicago area. I
Mm-hmm.
think that was like Lake Charles, um, just outside New Orleans, between there and Baton Rouge and like St. James, Donaldsonville area, Gonzales. So I worked in construction for a bit, did like a stint fabrication, figuring out how they build these storage tanks that they've been doing for like over 130 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to come back to Georgia in 2015 and I
Okay.
stayed there through like 2019 working on this nuclear project that I think they're finishing up now and they're starting to test the actual fuel and it's like I saw somebody post on it and I was like, man, I'm proud of you for just being a part of that, being at the finish line and just sticking with it because at the end for me that thing got super stressful and I just had to bow out for a minute and do a better job of taking care of my mental health
Right.
and just went back home a little bit, checked in with the folks.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Start of last year went out with FEMA, or before I went out with FEMA, I started podcasting because I listened to them all the time, like long drives,
Mm-hmm.
doing some mundane work, but also wanting to like learn different things like that. And it's almost like different form of reading a book, but you have
Yeah.
multiple people having a chance to interact.
Mm-hmm.
So I started it. I was like, I can finally have something that I can create instead of just go to work, go home, eat, sleep, repeat, maybe work out. And it was just like, oh, now I have something else to do. So did that last year, 2020. Got an opportunity to go work with FEMA through a subcontractor, and
Nice.
did that for about the first 3 months or the first 2 months. Then everything shut down. Continued through like May. And then they had to let a lot of people go because we couldn't work on site to do site inspections for damages they had for the hurricanes
Yeah.
of 2017. Still going through that recovery effort,
Mm-hmm.
and then just kind of sat back a bit, let things play out. Took enjoyed, I guess, kind of just enjoyed the time off,
Yeah.
trying to just not tune into too much of the craziness or whatnot. And at the start of this year, just jumped back on the podcast train again, just dusting off the ones that I recorded, making sure they get put out, record more frequently, reach out to people that I've been meaning to reach out to, like yourself, and just be like, hey, like at some point I know we connected. I really want to be able to have a conversation. So I was like, I want to do this thing that highlight everyday people, whether they're like college grads, construction workers, people I meet through mastermind groups like I'm out here this weekend, or no, this whole week actually,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of being able to refocus, but also just be in alignment with myself to be like, okay, these are the things that I'm doing in business. These are the things I'm doing personally. These are the
Right.
things I'm doing in relationship through
Mm-hmm.
spirituality and different things like that. And that, that's about kind of caught up to where we are now.
Hey, man. It's a beautiful journey, man. Beautiful
Yeah,
journey. Yeah. Yeah. I
it
mean,
has.
I mean, I've briefly thought about the podcasting thing, but
Uh
like,
oh.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I mean, I guess that was before I had the kids, and we started a business with my wife that takes up a lot of the time. So I'm like, well, I'll
Gotcha.
just do that. So,
What
um,
what were you thinking about doing it on before?
um, I mean, it was mostly on. Well, actually, no, it was. I'll take that back. It was actually on like marriage and fatherhood.
Mm,
And that was after I had my first son. Well, my
yeah,
first son, which is my son.
right.
Now the pandemic hit, had my daughter. Oh yeah, all that time just
And now you got more stuff to talk about. Just be like, hey guys,
yeah,
it's getting
yeah,
real.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I started writing some stuff out just as far as topics I wanted to do and wanted to discuss. Because one thing that me and my best friends have noticed, because me and him are both parents.
Yeah,
That men don't share
right.
the information.
Yeah,
Mostly the women sharing their experiences. Well,
yeah,
I can't even say that because they don't do that all the time either. Because um, we've learned that I know before my my wife got pregnant, she was inquiring, her cousins who had already had kids and stuff like that. Oh, so how is it? But of course, they tell you about the nice side of things.
right,
All of the ugly stuff behind the scenes. They don't mention none of that.
right.
So when it happened for us, when we were sharing it, they were
Mm.
like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that happened to us too." We ain't saying none of that when we asked you though.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
Sometimes I sometimes I wonder if people don't tell us the whole story, like just not to scare you. Because
yeah, yeah.
I remember like my junior year in college when I transferred to tech is like junior year, maybe senior year. I was
Mm,
talking to a junior and she was just like, oh man, this is so tough. It's so rough. And I was like, sometimes I can be blunt when I choose to be.
mhm.
It's like at times you just need to hear that. And I was
Yeah,
like, it's only going to get harder, to be honest. Like, I'm just going to tell you the truth. But
yeah, yeah.
it lets you know that you chose the right major, because although it's getting harder, you learn to enjoy what you're doing, because you know that, hey, at the end of this, I have an opportunity to get a job. Like I go
Yeah.
from making $0 to, who knows, 40K, 50K, 80K, like 100K, 120. It's like, that's a big jump from just nothing to something. Or even if you were making like an internship, you're making 11, 15, like to jump to like 30, 40, 50. It's like that's a big deal.
No, it is. It is. No, but that's true. Hey, but my thought process is, you either gonna get pregnant or not and be a parent.
Mhm.
So we're just gonna tell you. If you decide to do it or not. So most of those people that we've told, they got pregnant, had their kids, they had their marriages and all that. But I know on the marriage side, I guess the biggest thing for us is, you know, both our both our sides of our parents are in different situations. Her parents are still married. Her parents divorced many years ago.
Gotcha.
So, we both have a different thought process.
Mm.
And then even with that, around the time we got married, we had at least what two or three other sets of people who got married,
Mm.
and two of those are not even married anymore. So, and that was 5 years ago. So,
So
um,
when you
so
say two or three sets of people, those are like people that you know or related
yeah,
to?
yeah, people that we know that we went to their wedding, we attended their wedding.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Attended their wedding. Yeah, it was either the year of ours or the year before, the year after. We attended their
Right,
wedding. We celebrate with them.
right.
They're not together anymore. So,
Oof.
or
That,
whatever
and they were
reason.
before you.
Yeah, yes.
That's rough.
Whatever reasons. So we're just trying to support people who are thinking about getting married. Tell them the truth. Hey,
Yeah,
first year is gonna be hard, because that's what somebody told me.
right,
I was actually in a all men's discipleship group for church,
right.
and there, I was lucky. I was fortunate that I had a lot of older men in that group. I was the youngest.
Yeah.
A lot of older men, and I was like, yeah, I'm about to get married, and they, sat me down, talked to me about everything. They
Mhm.
said, hey, that first year gonna be tough. So if you can make it past that,
Yeah,
hey, it's a good thing. That's the first step. Not saying that it's
right,
gonna be easy all the
right,
time.
right.
Yeah, the first year is gonna be tough.
Mhm.
They didn't necessarily. Well, I didn't necessarily. Well, I guess they did kind of explain a little bit. Of course, it's two people, different
Right,
backgrounds.
right.
Been doing however way they do it for so long, and now you're gonna be on the same roof. So
Mm.
it's gonna be a lot of button heads and all of that. So,
True.
oh, hold on, 1 second.
Okay. No,
I'm
you.
gonna make a lot of noise. Hold on. I walked in the door, and then my wife was calling on the phone. I was like, "Well, I'm calling you back. I'm calling you back." So,
Well, I won't keep you too long. I know you got daddy duties and husband duties, but it's funny what you mentioned about sharing. It's like yesterday, we got here Monday, and then we had like basically registration, people checking into their hotel rooms and things like that. Like
yeah,
Tuesday, we met up. Um, Wednesday was a free day. Thursday, we met up. And yeah, yesterday being Thursday, we had like morning section. And I think after lunch, they had like a women's empowerment and men's
yeah.
empowerment. So they like split us up.
Mhm,
And some of the I guess you'd say like the leaders in the
mhm,
group, like you have one of the main guys. Uh, uh, he's one of the guys I've learned from a lot. He's a marriage counselor, marriage coach,
yeah,
and he really talked in the conversation as like what are some of the things that have worked for him and what have been some like of the challenges. And it's like, okay, guys, we're gonna have real talk. It's like obviously we're all out here. Um, we're all out here at a resort.
right,
It's like people dress differently at a resort.
right.
It's nice weather, and like he's like, I'm a man. It's like I'm not blind. Let's just put it that way. But it's like, okay, let's just keep it real. But it's like just because you can see a thing doesn't mean you need to take action on it.
Yeah,
And one thing that he was saying, and I think somebody took the analogy a little bit further. It's like you can imagine that there's a scene where there's this horse and there's this fence line. Behind this fence line, there's this green pastures. There's like this house way in the back, like far away from the fence. But this horse is like right up against the fence, just like sticking his head over there.
Right.
It's like whenever if you're not careful with your character as a man, it's like you're essentially just that horse that's standing at the fence line, peeking over when you got all that, you've got a relationship and something that you've built with your wife that's in the background. And it's like, if you're always going to be lurking, it's like, okay, just because you have eyes, that doesn't mean that you need to do anything with that. It's like one thing that's important they're saying is play the scenario out in your head, like use your brain, like use it to your advantage, like play that out. It's like, how's that really going to work out to your favor? More times than not, it's not. And the thing that's helpful is having people that can check you. So like having guys like this, or for instance, being like on, like you were saying with the men's group, like having people that can keep you accountable, where it's like, okay, if I'm connected to you and you mess up, like that's not only going to make you look bad, but that's going to make us look bad. So it's like, I got to keep you in check to keep me in check. And I was like, I'm glad I've met these guys. And I was going to say, like, if you definitely need to be in contact with guys that share and are willing to just be more or less transparent, especially when you talk about like Black men in America that are willing to be vulnerable because they've seen what that's done for them and how it's changed. And a big thing one of the other guys said, I talked with him a little bit longer after we worked out. He just kind of reminded the folks and like all the guys in the room, he was like, hey, a lot of us had like estranged relationships with our dads, whether it's like they were stern on us or we didn't understand or they didn't teach us like the things we're learning now. It's like, you got to remember they didn't have access to the same technologies, the same environment, all of this stuff. So it's like, and also they're also human. Like, yeah, that's your dad, but like forgive him and go free yourself. Like that way, it's like if you stop holding that boulder of like, oh, you didn't do this, is like you didn't do it. He's like, as guys, or as people in general, it's like everybody has their faults and failings and things like that. And when you realize that you've made your own mistakes, like you said what you shouldn't have said, or like I don't know, there's so many knucklehead moves you can make, just like stepping on your toes, stubbing your toe or something like that. It's, if you can do that, like anybody else can do that. And it's like, it doesn't make your parents any more or any less. But when he just said that, it was just like one of those things of clarity that was just kind of came to me earlier in this year. I think maybe at the start of last year, but just being able to slowly unpack things. Then it's real big.
No, that's been the major thing for me, especially through the pandemic. I mean, my best friend lives in New York, but I feel like through the pandemic, we talked a lot more, more frequently, and whatever, or regularly.
Right.
And we were sharing a lot of stuff. I mean, me and my wife, after my first son, we actually lost a child. Didn't really tell a lot of people about it. Ended up sharing that with him. He was like, yeah, man, we actually lost one too. They've been working on trying to have a second one. Just bonding with him on that level. Share some stuff about some troubles I had with the family. Since I've been married and all that, shared that with him. He shared similar insights. So it's like, hey, even when you're out there thinking that you're on the island by yourself,
everybody's like, oh man, I'm out here suffering alone. It's like, everybody's suffering, and sometimes it just helps to reach out a little bit, and somebody's like, oh, me too, and you're like, okay, like I'm not in this by myself.
Right. Yeah, man. I was able to he was able to provide me some good advice. You know, I've been able to provide him some too, because I know him and his wife were, you know, contemplating just going to counseling just to kind of keep their marriage going. And I was
Right.
like, yeah, me and my wife have, tried that thing too. So I mean, it's definitely been helpful. Of course, some of the topics are a little, touchy, but hey, it
Right.
should be,
Right.
especially if you want to develop in that area. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely been rewarding. So that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do the podcast. And I mean, as I'm talking to you, I'm like, man, I really should.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that I think I believe that you'll do it. And like, even if it's not, how would you say? I think just the fact that you started, that we're doing this, and hey, heck, this could be like your first episode if you want. I'll send it to you so you can look through it and kind of see what it is that you want to do with it. But it's just continue being patient with yourself and just go through the process. It's like if other things are going on right now, like just do what you can. Like for this, it's funny because whenever I was like, we were gonna talk, and I was just thinking to myself, I was like, I don't want to spring it on him like, hey, can I record our conversation? But I was like, let me just ask. Like, it wasn't my initial intention, but let me ask to like capture the moment. That way, it's like I don't want to miss out on something just out of fear of just being like, oh, I don't want to see it. It's like, well, if you just present your intentions, they can either say yes or no. And it's like there's no loss in that. And just from that communication, like from when I started, I think I maybe recorded 40 episodes in the first 4 months or 3 months that I was like, okay, let me do this podcasting thing because I took a break from work and I was just like, let me put my attention into something that has my attention right now, something I want to develop. Like I want to create a business, figure out how it works, like went through the editing software and stuff like that. Then fast forward to almost 2 years now. Obviously, within the first two episodes, I figured out I wanted nothing to do with editing. Luckily, I found someone to um, help me with audio editing, and then we were starting to implement video editing, and even in like two forms. And what I'm just finding to be helpful, it's like doing what I'm strong in and allowing other people to come alongside and help me. And also just this year, I finally put like a calendar together to say, okay, this is when I put the podcast out, which is what I was doing before, but this is when I record because right now I'm working at Home Depot and I'm working in their merchandising team on the night shift. And it's like, man, it's been a minute since I've worked the night shift. And now this is probably the longest I've worked the night shift, like just over 2 months. And this job and the experience that it's providing me is just, it's blowing my mind because I'm in that learning phase where I'm learning about myself, teaching me so much more with just daily interactions with my coworker and my supervisor, where um, instances of my ego have come up multiple times, and I'm like, yeah, I got to check that. Like, I saw where I messed up one day, and it's like I started snapping, and then one of my coworkers was like, don't start snapping at me. I didn't mess this up. You messed this up. And I was like, you're right. You're right. My bad. I was like, yep, I know. And then he kind of just like doubled down a little bit, started scolding, and I was like, oh, man. And even like a few days ago, like we're out here having fun and everything. I've got my phone over here soaking in rice because, again, trying to be, what do they say? Pride comes before the fall. Like, been doing good. Like, for some reason, I decided to take my phone into the water because I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be waterproof. Like Samsung, since like the S5, they've been waterproofing their phones. They've been making it water resistant, and like usually it seems to work, but it was a bad idea. Like multiple people were like, hey, um, you got your phone in a Ziploc bag. Like if you would have put it in one of the pouches, like it's not going to work. Hey, just put it right here. If you want film, we can film it. We got the GoPros. We got it in our cases. Like hey, we can film you. And I was just like, no, I'm taking it in. It's okay. Take it in there, put it in my back pocket, zip it. I pull it out, and it's like I'm trying to open it. Obviously, the water's filling up because Ziploc bags got holes in it from where I had other things in there. And I was like, yeah, it's not gonna work. I'm just gonna put it away. So I put it away, and I'm walking around in there in salt water, and it's just, yeah. So I got it back. I think I finally opened it. I finally opened the phone up today and washed it out and things. I was able to get the SIM card out yesterday. Luckily, I had my backup phone to work, but I was like, you know, that's probably that's a something to improve on, but it's almost like a win where I can see it as, you know, sometimes you just got to own up to your mistakes. Like
Yeah,
if
definitely.
somebody asks, I'm like, hey, this is what happened. I messed up. And I don't need to go like obviously I'm telling you, but like I don't need to wear it as like another pride or another badge of honor to just be like, oh yeah, yeah. It's like no, like I'm telling you the story to just be like, yeah, I, I'm learning. And even when I think I'm learning, it's like no, like the 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 thing that's gonna get you to like that next level, it's like it starts right here. When somebody tells you something directly, and then three people tell you, four people tell you, five people tell you, it's like stop,
You're right.
stop digging. Let's say like when you're in a hole, stop digging. That's the only way you get out. Like take the ladder that somebody's handing you instead of just being like, no, I got it. It's supposed to be this. It's like no. So, so
Nah, yeah, yeah. You'll definitely learn that as a married guy. You know,
yeah,
you gotta own up to those things. You know, especially when she's telling you something. She's like, no, that's not
yeah,
right. And then you find out, and then of course she not gonna say nothing. She's gonna sit there.
right,
I'm like, oh yeah, you was right.
right.
You, yeah. So
I've
I
got
mean, nowadays I make sure I say it because she'll bring it up later. So maybe that's remember when I said that last time.
yeah.
No, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I feel like from this trip I've got that and maybe something else. Like I'm not married, but a good friend of mine, we keep in touch, and I think I was almost missed the bus getting back, and it was like for some reason I don't even want to make the excuse. Essentially, I was getting a phone call like, "Hey, we're getting ready to leave. You need to get here now." I'm sitting here trying to figure out where's here, and like I'm looking, I'm like, okay, I had to walk here. I'm trying to find it. And it's like, I don't need your attitude right now. I need you here. Like none of that. And I was like, I was just like, I just shut my mouth. I was like, I'm moving. I'm trying to run. I'm looking. Okay, go down here. It's not there. Go down there. And I'm like, just making the effort to just be like, okay, get there, get on the bus, don't say anything, just go. Because it's like when you're wrong, you're wrong. When you think you're right, you're still wrong. So it's like if I learn it now, eventually when I get married, it'll be I don't know if I can say it'll be smoother, but it'll be like some maybe I'll have it like as a learning experience. Like I've
Well,
learned along the way. So
yeah,
stop
yeah,
making the same mistakes, stop
yeah,
prodding the same points just because I want to make a point. Like if I
yeah.
gotta be wrong, I gotta be wrong. So long as we all get home
Right.
and I get back the same way I came in. Like,
Mhm.
what do they say in safety? Like 10 toes and fingers intact.
Yeah. So I definitely say it'll be something that you'll be more aware of. I'm not gonna say that you'll be a pro of any kind, but you'll be able to identify it quickly. Oh yeah, that's that. So let me do
Right.
that. So I mean yeah, those experiences are always good. Um, so I mean there are some relationships that I had before I got married that helped me identify certain things like
Yeah.
you know of course close me having a sister and all of that. Hey, you have to treat this what you say a certain way because
Yeah.
in the beginning I would just say stuff and wife would get offended. I'm like, why? Like,
Right.
like, what's going on? But it's the way I said it, which
Right.
hey, you gotta be aware of that too. But that's just like, any relation, that's at work. I mean, you can say something,
Yeah.
somebody can defend it. You're like, oh, why is that? Being more aware of how you're saying it, and how people will react to it.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a constant
Yeah.
learning process. So.
What's so funny about learning? It's like whenever you do it in school, like what do they say? You can't compartmentalize greatness, and it's like sometimes when you learn something, the test in school is kind of measured because you know that I'm learning this subject for this time, and then the test is going to come on this day. Like it's not going to come sooner, but for some reason, life comes a little quicker. Like I've been studying behavioral science in the sense of like um, how I behave. Like eventually, I want to be able to consult and consult with people and be able to see like, okay, what is it that you're looking for,
Mhm.
and how can I use this tool to help you?
Right.
And in doing that, it's like in learning about myself and where I'm good and where I may have some blind spots. It's like, okay, I don't have to go look for a problem that's going to challenge me or that's going to highlight that. They always seem to just pop up, like just
Mhm.
like the smallest thing, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Like just because I'm strong in some area, it doesn't mean I need to like put it over somebody's head because as soon as I just want to be like, oh yeah, I can score. I don't know. I guess people use a lot of basketball references like, yeah, I can score 20 points. I can get this. I never
Mhm.
played basketball, by the way.
Okay.
Surprisingly. But just like anytime that I've wanted to like have that pride come up and just be like, oh yeah, here's my ego, here's my ego. It's like, yeah, there's your ego, there's your ego. Go sit over there with it in the corner because
Right.
that's where you're gonna be with like the dunce head on your head. Just be like, oh man, yeah, it wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Understood. Understood. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess a lot. Well, I guess as you were saying, I was thinking of learning as a parent too, because I know a lot of interactions that I've had with my son um, definitely taught me, well, of course, patience, and all of that.
Yeah,
Um, and then for my son, he's pretty smart for his age, so um, I have to constantly remember, hey, he's only 4,
right,
so what he's doing is actually what he's supposed to be doing.
right,
He's not listening, and that's what they do at that age. They pick and choose what they want, what they want to listen to. So,
yeah,
I have to constantly remind myself, hey, you can't get up, can't get frustrated, upset, and all that. You have to be patient, talk to him.
yeah,
He'll respond, which it works. I mean, for the most part, we say for the
right,
most most part. So, there are the times when he's like, and just does his own thing. But I mean, for the most part, he does. But yeah, just have to remind yourself, because me and my wife found this book that is how do you talk to little kids so they'll listen.
yeah,
Um, and it basically kind of focused on you talking to an adult.
right,
You don't you can't just yell and demand them to do things and expect them to listen. I mean,
right,
they gonna be like, why? Or what? Rebel and do the same thing a little child would do.
right,
You're yelling at me. You want me to listen? I don't want to do that just because
yeah,
you said it like that. So, so yeah, just talk to him like he's on my level. Hey, you can't do that. Explain why. The whole thing. Even if he might not understand all the details, at least you're
right,
talking to him. But I mean, for some things he'll pick up because I'll say, hey, don't do this, and then
mhm,
um he'll repeat something I told him before. Oh, don't do this because, and then he'll say the reason I said before. I said, okay, so I'm not sure if you understand, but at least you remember what I said.
right,
So that's yeah, that's good enough. So yeah, that's definitely been a big eye opener too through the pandemic because
yeah,
um well yeah, because I would say if before COVID, because I actually work 30 minutes away from where I live, so
mhm,
a lot of my time is at work in the car and all that. So this is a lot of time I get to spend with the family. So I'm good. I'm
Right.
good. And even with comparing my son to my daughter, when son was first born, I had 2 weeks at home, and then I had to go back to work. So I miss all the little, first this, first that, because I was at work.
Wow.
So now for my daughter, I see everything. I just come out the office. Hey, what's going on? Oh, okay. And I go back.
Nice.
So she might be in here with me, and I see it. So I'm happy to have that, this time with them. So
very nice. That's awesome. It's funny. I was thinking to myself, like the two questions I came up with from earlier, just podcasting wise. I always wanted to ask everybody's like, what's something you gained from 2020?
Oh yeah.
That seems like that's a big one for me.
Yeah, that's a big thing, and I don't know. One day I was on the call, I was just thinking about it because a lot of people saying negatives, but I was like,
yeah.
Well, hey, I guess I get to spend more time with my daughter, and my kids. So hey,
True.
That's a good thing to me. I don't have to be in the car for an hour and a half in traffic. So hey, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And then at least, and also at this, since we're stuck in the house, I have more time to even try to work out. Because before I would get home and be like, nah, I ain't. There's no way I'm working out right now.
Yeah.
So
you set up the home gym, or how'd you do it? Just free?
Yeah. I mean, just things. Yeah. Oh, it doesn't show the bike. But yeah, before I was on another call and it showed my bike that was in the corner.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I got a little bike in here and some weights and all of that, and I go around the neighborhood. Like our neighbors and everybody be walking and running. So
nice.
Hey, just join them and go.
You almost be out there like, what do they say? Like the ladies that usually power walk in the morning. It's like all the dads are out there too.
Yeah, well, I mean, one cool thing is like at the end of my work day, we all go out as a family, take a couple laps around the neighborhood, and that's been pretty cool.
That's nice.
So allowed us to get out and bond and break away because, like I said, me and my wife have a business, so she's a pharmacist, so she works a pharmacy job a couple times a week, and then the weekend. But other, in between then, she's taking calls for a business. We do event planning,
nice.
And everything. So yeah, she's taking calls, working with clients and everything. So it was good to just be able to break away and just walk, spend some time with the family and all that. Otherwise, we would just continue on. So.
Right. That's man, that's so cool because it's like you said, having this kind of reset, it allowed me to just be able to kind of think and be like, okay, where do I want to go next? And really think on like what am I willing to accept versus just be like, no, I'm not doing that. Like just basically if like somebody's just trying to force something on me, it's like I don't have to. Like, not right now. Like I'll do this for the time being. I really enjoy this. Like I was saying with the Home Depot job, like it's funny working in construction for nearly 8 years, and I was like, I've worked in, how would you say, almost like a management role or like a support role, but not actually knowing how to use certain tools when it comes to home construction because we're doing like industrial construction, just out in the middle of nowhere, nobody around to be seen for a couple miles, just us working to ourselves. And now interacting with people on a regular basis for at least 2 hours where a customer will just run up to you and just be like, hey, where's this? I'd be like, I don't know exactly, but let me find you someone that actually works in the store. And then when they find what they're looking for, and I'm like, oh, what's that thing? And it's like, oh, you use this to do this, you use this to paint, you use this to install doors and this. Okay, here's where you have bathtubs, toilets, sinks, different things like that. And it's like, obviously, it's like you work at a place where you can basically, if you want to remodel your house, you're like, that might be a good tile pattern.
Right.
So it's like, obviously, spring has come and we're almost going into summer soon. So it's like everybody's doing the spring cleaning. We're setting everything up. So I'm like, okay, let me get some weed killer. Let me get some fly attractor, another thing for the ants, get that out there, spray down the whole house, like put a whole perimeter, get rid of like any little critters that want to come in. And I'm like, wow, within a month's time or within like just one weekend, I did what I just kept having in the back of my mind, like, yeah, I really need to do this, just to, like help around the house. And I set a plan for the week and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this one thing on this Saturday and that's it. And I guess is what I was trying to say earlier for the podcast. I finally got to where this year I was like, I'm just gonna record on Saturdays. But I was just thinking to myself, well, I'm on vacation and actually it gives me time to think. It gives me time to do as I please. And it's like, I don't know if I'd consider this working, but I mean, it's work. It's working for me having the conversation, but it's like, I'm able to enjoy it because it's like, you can play and then you can go work. And I don't necessarily need to go take like a month off, but like if I have a day of full rest and then I have a day of play, like obviously if I haven't been having to work for like the past 4 days and then I can just come and have a conversation with you, catch up, and just be like, wow, like time's really flown by. And here you are, 2 kids. Before you know it, hopefully it's not like by the time they're 10 and so on, it's like, oh man, like 10, 20 years have gone by. Kids are graduating, they're in college now. It's like, man, I messed up on following up, Mike. My bad.
Oh, don't worry, man. Hey, no, we'll definitely make sure they don't happen. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to do well, I can say a lot of people in my circle definitely trying to do a better job of keeping connected. I mean, Ron even mentioned that because I would always hit him up, and he'll be, either busy or whatever. Which okay, makes sense. He actually works a different shift from me, so I mean,
right.
So
it's like nothing to feel bad about. But I mean, it's good to see just like everybody's doing life in their own way and everybody's growing. Like thankfully, we didn't. Thankfully, I didn't lose anyone through last year. I don't know if you did, but just glad to see that the people that are still here and doing well and getting better. Like obviously, a lot of people created businesses last year, and a lot of people even. I was gonna say if you want to promote your business, feel free to do that, and then we can come on and talk more about it at a later time.
Okay.
Like my biggest thing in doing this is like I want to highlight everyday people, and I figure like I know everyday people because I either saw them every day at some point or like that's what it means to me. It's like your neighbor or just the people closest to you, because when I took time off last year, I think I focused way too much attention on media, and like by the end of it I was like, oh okay, no, I can kind of now see why this has my attention. Obviously it's an election year, everything's escalated, elevated, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't doing me any good, because like whether I agree with a friend or not, like it's not worth sabotaging a relationship based on information that was either force fed to me or marketed to me. It's like, what am I gonna do with that? Okay, I won the argument. Now what? Like, do I just look like the idiot that was the know-it-all, or like? So then it was like, put that down. Let people do whatever they're gonna do, and it's like the world keeps turning.
Absolutely.
Well, oh, the second question, or the last question that I have for you, just to let you wrap up, who do you say you are?
Who do I say I am? Or who do I identify as?
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I was asked this. I feel like this question came up earlier this week, and my first instinct was well, my go-to. I'm a son, father, and a husband. That's what I identify as. Son in the sense of my parents, God, and of course, husband to my wife, and then to my two kids now, father. Um, well, we'll see if I get any more kids, but but yeah, man. I say that because I mean it's they all have. I mean, they all have shaped me in different phases of my life. Of course, I was a son first. Learned the foundation. Um, really made me to the man I was. Up to marriage, and then
Right.
he kind of took over the reins, and we kind of transformed each other into different people. Because just think about us 5 years ago, and we were totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different. Like I mentioned before, hey, that first year was tough, and we were battling ideas, and I probably said some stuff that year that I said I would never do, but hey, I've been doing it now. So I mean, people change. Then as a father, that's just, I mean, that's a whole different ball game, especially through this, stuff that's going on in the world now. Raising a son, for sure. The things that continue to happen, and then just thinking about, a daughter too. So definitely want to protect her and make sure she's, you know, safe and everything. So yeah, it's a lot to think of as a parent. It's a lot of, well, I'm not gonna say a lot of responsibility, but it's more responsibility. You definitely have people that are looking at you to be a model. So definitely have to make sure, or at least have to be more intentional in doing things the right way, and saying it the right way and all of that. So
Awesome. Cool. I appreciate the time, man. Do you want to leave people with anything, any way to follow you, follow the business?
oh well, I guess I can say something about the business a little bit. I mean it's called Doctored Events. The name was inspired because my wife is actually she has a doctorate degree. She's a pharmacist, and she enjoys event planning and such. So our website is doctoredevents.com. The type of events that we do, we've been doing a lot of weddings this year, do baby showers, birthdays, even meetings, different events, big and small. Um, I mean, we handle vendor management too. So if it's something that we can't provide, we have connections to other vendors for food and different things. So we definitely cover the whole thing. Pretty soon we'll be looking for some event space, and hopefully we can be in the renting side as well. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
Are you still in Atlanta?
Yeah, still in Atlanta. Still in Atlanta. So yeah, I actually live in Gwinnett now. First time living in Gwinnett, but
Okay.
yeah, definitely in the Gwinnett area. So but yeah, we've definitely been doing a lot of we've been doing events out of state. We've even traveled to Texas and different places to do events. So
Awesome.
that definitely isn't a concern. I mean, we even went to Jamaica for a wedding. So wherever your needs are. I mean, I guess just to tell a little bit about ourselves, we actually enjoy doing it. We see it as a way to, create a moment that the client will remember forever. So, especially in the weddings. So, definitely want to be a part. Well, we definitely enjoy being a part of that celebration, and we want to make it special for the people that we do it for. So,
Awesome. Cool. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for taking the time. It's good to catch up. Glad you're doing life your way, learning along the way.
Thanks, man. Thank you for inspiring me to get that podcast going. Thank you for the encouragement. Definitely need to hear that today because as we were talking, I was just thinking about my conversation I was having with my best friend. He was like, "Yeah, you should do it," and all that, and kind of dropped off with all the other stuff going on. But like you said, just be patient.
Yeah.
Be patient with myself. And yeah, I'll definitely get it done because it's something that I'm definitely passionate about, and me and my wife do it quite frequently as far as just sharing our ideas to make sure that just people just know the truth and are supported. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
Hey, I'll send you some resources your way. Just check them out when you get time. Hopefully, they can continue to build you up and help in more ways than one.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, man.
Take care until next time.
All right, man. I'll see you.
Bye.
This is the It's My Time podcast with Asher Tchoua.